right, all right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Am I good today? It's Wednesday, hump day. Mike. How is everyone on this Wednesday? Good morning. Praying for Texas. Absolutely. Bless their hearts. Mercy. I lived there for 20 years. Know the deal. All right. Good morning, everybody. How are you today? Welcome to the program. We have had troops at the Capitol since January 12th. And there is no sign of them leaving anytime soon. Well, you know that there's a threat. All those Trump people. Gosh, dang them. And they've got to stay there at the Capitol at least till the fall. That's why, because you is why they have to stay. Welcome to the program today. My name is Nick Stewart. This is Sunrise Santa Rosa. Welcome, risers. And glad you're. It's day 4 of quarantine. Wow. Yeah, it's gonna be like that. It's gonna be just like that. All right. We got a lot to do. Telephone number to call is 850-771-0049. Thank you for being here. Thank you to Milton Post for hosting and all the other folks that share it. God bless you. All right, your forecast for today. Some sunshine with a thunderstorm or two possible this afternoon. High near 58. Chance of rain 30%. Tonight, thunderstorms likely. Few storms may be severe. Low near 51. The chance of rain 100%. Then tomorrow, steady rain in the morning, showers continuing in the afternoon, and a high near 57. Chance of rain tomorrow 70%. Rainfall about 1/4 inch. Can't win. It is 27 in Milton. It's 33 Gulf Breeze, 29 Navarre, and 29 in Pensacola. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. All right. So the National Guard will leave when masks go away. Now, I don't know why you say that. What does the mask have to do with it? It has to do with you. It's 28 in North Milton right now. Okay. Is that the official temperature, or is that your temperature, Kim? Did the cat tell you that? Yeah, but the troops will be in the Capitol until fall. Well, that's what they're saying right now. Because remember, they were there because of a threat, and they were going to be there through the inauguration, right? And then they said, well, we're going to keep them around until the impeachment. Well, both of those things have come and gone. And so now it is still on. Mary, we've been missing you, I think. I haven't seen you in a while. Never another word, mask will go away. All right. And the cat said so. And so there it is. I don't like cat videos, Kim, but I watched a cat video yesterday of cats on catnip. It was the best. All right. If you did not watch Tucker Carlson last night, holy smokes, people. The first 11 minutes were absolutely savage. Tucker Carlson tore it up. I will try to find it and post the link. Wow. That was absolutely the most amazing 10 minutes of TV I've ever watched. He was absolutely brutal. And he was spot on. And I will find that, and we will post that today. Very amazing. You must spend 10 minutes to watch Tucker from last night. Wow. Diane still at Jamie's? Oh, okay. No more snow. Oh, got more snow. Oof. It's all right. You got food, you got warmth, you got family. You're good. All right. So we want to get to some of this stuff this morning. We got some video to get to as well. But this is interesting. And a Escambia County woman, let me see if I can find her pretty picture. Here she is. She was taken into custody after deputies say she was found unresponsive and under the influence, leaving a child unattended on Saturday. Crystal Mathis, 38, is charged with one count of child neglect without great bodily harm. According to a report from the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, a witness told deputies he went into the hotel gym to work out when he walked by Mathis by the front door. The witness said Mathis appeared to be asleep with a small liquor bottle next to her, and the child was trying to wake her up. The witness tried waking up Mathis, but got no response. The report says the child told him Mathis had been sleeping for nearly 30 minutes. Deputies arrived finding the child with only short-sleeved shirt, no jacket or winter clothes, although the temperature is 45 degrees. You have to access the gym by going outside and passing to large open pools without supervision. Now, when the child says that Mathis has been asleep for 30 minutes, do you understand children and dogs have no concept of time? Just before you just write that down, 30 minutes, they don't know. But she was arrested. She was released on bond. Take care of the children's. On Tuesday evening, Pensacola State College parking lot was lined with cars full of faculty members protesting what they call unsafe working conditions. The drive-in event was designed to offer participants a pandemic-friendly way to protest. Supporters of the event drove their cars around Warrington campus in circles with signs that read betrayal and high risk. So they were protesting the pandemic, but they were causing carbon emissions. The teacher and faculty members believe that PSC is not doing enough to keep the students, faculty, and staff safe amid the pandemic. Wow. We have faculty reporting can't even get their trash emptied. So they don't feel that extra sanitation is happening in these rooms because you can't get your garbage can dumped. They also voiced their concerns to the PSC's Board of Trustees in a meeting Tuesday night. Organizers said no promises were made. Now, Ed Meadows, the doctor, the president of the college, he said, to my knowledge, no student nor any faculty member has contracted COVID in the classroom. You're required to wear a mask, practice social distancing on campus. There are also plexiglass dividers in classrooms, hand sanitizing stations around the school. Meadows believes the protest is motivated by ongoing contract negotiations with faculty. And why was there signs betrayal on the cars? Renee Beninati from Channel 3 was reporting. She was reporting from the parking lot as they drove around. It was very staged. But they all had their signs taped in the same place. And I don't know. I don't understand the betrayal. Let them find another job. Yeah, and that's what John Kerry said. Let them find another job. Times have changed. But, yeah. PSC. In a little more than a year, the city of Milton's downtown courthouse will be empty for the first time in 100 years. So, after the new one gets built and the bazillions of dollars spent upon it, what do they do with the old building? Do they bulldoze it down, keep it intact, transform it? What? What do you do with this building? Dan Schliebler proposed the idea last week to form a committee. What to do with this building? Now, I don't know who's going to be on this committee. Is it going to be a stacked committee? Probably. That people will do and say and call for the things that we want them to call for. But whichever is cheaper is what they should do. All right. Do you But here you go. Do you get a consultant in, which is going to cost monies? Consultants cost monies to get them in there, to look around, to poke around, to write out a proposal. What is cheapest? Now, Kim says transform it into what? What would you like to see done with this building? Better have Ghostbusters. Oh, is it? Are there ghostesses in there? Are there ghosts in there? Tear down, make way for a new bridge over the oh. Is that a viable option? I mean, is there a way to do that without other structural problems? Committee meetings will be public. Yeah. But you've got it's in good shape. So what do you do with it? Someone said apartments. No. Office buildings. What do you do with that building? Tear it down, make way for a new bridge. Yeah. Lots of great ideas have been floating around for years. Committee will have discussions about them. But what will they take? Justin says, if there are ghosts in there, that's a different story. And yes. Yep. Do that. Let me know. Doesn't the building have mold issues? That's a good question. If it was good enough to transform, is good enough to hold court in. Well, we've already had that discussion. Now, here's my thing. What about a group of citizens that came up with several good ideas on what to do with the building? You form this group and you come up with some good, viable ideas and submit them. And it is a beautiful building. It is a beautiful building. Turn it into a maskless horror house. Well, isn't that all of Santa Rosa? Isn't that Milton? If you ask the mayor, isn't Milton a maskless horror house? But if the citizens came up with, hey, this is what we think would work, and do that, would that be a better alternative than political appointments doing what they want to do? Does that make sense? And I would like to see the citizens. It's your courthouse. It's your courthouse. I think that you ought to have the say. Not politicians, not special interest groups, you. And come up with a great idea. The court needs to have a long time. What? Long time outgrown that old building. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it has, the county has outgrown it. It is yours, yes. Okay. Right. There's a lot of history that's already been. I like the idea of restoring it. Make it functional, but it does have a lot of history. Until a consultant gives a full report. Yes. Yep. Good call, Mary. But yeah, get a consultant in. What kind of conditions the building in, and go from there. 850-771-0049. Oh, I don't have my phone, so don't call. Nobody calls anyway. You text. All right. Let's see what else is going on. As part of the company's commitment to investing in cleaner energy and meeting the future energy needs of Northwest Florida, Gulf Power is modernizing Plant Crest in Escambia County to run 100% on natural gas. So they are getting rid of coal. They're not going to do coal anymore. Gulf Power notified the Public Service Commission that the company plans to retire the plant's coal assets early, resulting in benefits to the local community as well as cost savings for the consumers. Wow, good. It'll help usher in a new, cleaner energy era for Gulf Power. Now, we saw what happened in Texas with that. Of course, they didn't use natural gas. They used wind turbines. You know, I shared I'm not going to go into that. By eliminating the use of coal at Plant Crest, Gulf Power will reduce plant's carbon emissions rate by 40%, the equivalent to taking an estimated 297,000 cars off the road annually, or 4 of John Kerry's plane trips. So there you go. But we're using natural gas. They are putting together a citizen committee. Step up if you want to be part of the committee. Even if it's not on the committee, ideas can present it. Who's appointing the committee? That was my concern, Kim. Those who are yes men. Does that make you understand my concern? Well, because I want it to be this, I'm going to appoint this person who agrees with me on that. Did John Kerry get relevant again? Your question is askew because he never was. He never was. Have you seen his face? Oh my gosh. He looks like a corpse, which matches his personality. During the pandemic, 24 children, pediatricians, psychiatrists, psychologists, and researchers all described a crisis among children suffering from inattention and tanking school performance. Data from specialists involved with diagnosing and treating ADHD show just how much parents are struggling to get help. They're flooding an ADHD support line with questions, and ADHD diagnoses and prescriptions for related medications have soared. COVID's been the tipping point that's pushed some families to get help, said Dr. Melvin Otis of the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, who said that the stress of the pandemic, the shift to remote learning, and social isolation have created anxiety-provoking conditions that affect students' attention. Well, you know what used to happen when that happened to me? I got a little whooping on the butt. I'm just saying. Experts warn that children who appear to have symptoms of ADHD should have thorough evaluations to rule out other conditions or stresses related to the pandemic before they seek medication. Our concern is that pediatricians and families be very careful to not simply list the symptoms of ADHD, but to look at the child's history and use differential diagnosis to make sure we have the best possible explanation for the symptoms. Now, the traffic to the Adults with Attention Hyperactivity Disorder, a nonprofit that supports people with ADHD, rose by 62% since the pandemic started. Traffic to its website last year grew by 77% compared to 2019. Now, what seems to be the issue? ADHD is overdiagnosed, Ramona. You got that. You got it. But what seems to be the issue? Again, I put it on the schools not being prepared and ready to take this on. They stink at it. It's not interesting. You're not interesting. Teachers, you're not interesting. Maybe now the parents will see what the teachers face with multiples in the classroom. I don't know about that. Um, y- d- well, here's what I think. I'm gonna tell you a story. Believe it or not, I'm a little high strung. When I was in high school, I hated history. I had terrible, um, I had a terrible history teacher. Several in a string, but Sally Rathkamp was awful. Sally Rathkamp, you stank as a history teacher. Anyway, I digress. I got a history teacher the next year, Mr. Swan. And Mr. Swan, while I disagree with him politically, was an absolutely amazing teacher. He did not, I think he was placed there just for me because he told history as a story. We took notes. I'm telling you what, we took copious notes. We didn't have a textbook. We took notes. He told it like a story. My grades skyrocketed. And I was tutoring other students because I was doing so well, because it was interesting. These teachers, exactly, Kate, they're lazy. They're lazy. And turn there, read that, do this. Man, we've got to have people that are teaching. And if you want to engage those students on Zoom, teach it. Kids need someone to talk to. Yeah, medicine. You don't remember history class? It is engagement. Thank you for confirming me. But I couldn't grab it. And then Mr. Swan just opened it up. And my grades turned around immediately. Just saying. And Sally Rathkamp was a terrible teacher. An increasing number of woke teachers are refusing to study Shakespeare. Now, in English, I didn't do well in grammar, but I did well in literature. And I enjoyed Shakespeare. But they're refusing to study Shakespeare, accusing his classic works of promoting misogyny, racism, homophobia, classicism, anti-Semitism, and misogyny. Misogynor? I don't know what that is. A slew of English literature teachers told the school library journal how they were ditching the likes of Hamlet, Macbeth, and Romeo and Juliet to instead make room for modern, diverse, and inclusive voices. Shakespeare was a tool used to civilize black and brown people in England's empire, insisted Shakespeare scholar Ayanna Thompson. Teachers also need to challenge the whiteness of the assumption that Shakespeare's works are universal, insisted Jeffrey Austin, who's the head of Michigan High School's English Literature Department. Former Washington State public school teacher Claire Brunke said she banished the bard from her classroom to stray from centering the narrative of white, cisgender, heterosexual men. Eliminating Shakespeare was a step I could easily take to work toward that, and it proved worthwhile for my students, she insisted. Have you spoken to some of these kids? A little Shakespeare. You know what the issue is? Again, I put it on lazy teachers. Oh, that's racist. That's misogynist. Why don't you teach it? Why don't you study it and teach it? I don't want you to watch the movie. I don't want you to watch an updated version based off of that. Read the flippin' work. Read Macbeth. Talk about it. They don't, Kim. They don't understand it because it's too hard. It's too hard. Kate says, the last time I met a teacher, I was in the ladies' room at a bar, And she was doing a line. Okay. Those quoted in this piece are the ones who should be removed from the education system. But they are just a small group of people who are supposed to be teaching your children. Now, here is one of the issues. Is there's going to be, and Corey says, read the Cliff Notes. I couldn't afford the Cliff Notes, so I didn't. I diagnosed all teachers as lazy. I'm saying the ones that don't want to do it are lazy. If you're not engaging the students, you're not teaching. That's lazy. If you're not wanting to read the work and teach it, you're lazy. That's not, I'm not stretching there. What else would you call it? Because it is easy for them to go, oh, that's homophobic. Oh, that's racist. That's lazy. To label stuff like that is just absolutely the laziest thing ever. What's hard is teaching. That's hard. If you're actually doing it right, it's hard. I think a lot of the problem is the parents. A lot of the parents are like, oh, I hated Shakespeare. I hated that. And some, I didn't understand it. But if you spent time in it, I thought there was a lot of things in Shakespeare that was absolutely hysterical. But I don't know, it was me. The teacher has to love the subject. The teacher has to love teaching and learn how to make it interesting. I'm going to say this. I'm just like a preacher. And I may not strike it all the time. But I try to make it interesting. I try to bring out things like, oh, you got to listen to this. And I'm animated and and listen, you can say what you want. But preaching, teaching, public speaking, all has a bit of showmanship in it. And that's not the showmanship's not the point, but it helps get your point across. And if you're a teacher and you're like, Bueller, you're not going to do it. You're not doing it. Why would you do that job every day with low pay, too much regulatory paperwork, and not to love teaching? The pay isn't low. And the expectation is not bad. They don't expect results. So, yeah. Yeah, I disagree with you, Sharon. Well, that's why they call us deplorables. I know why. I don't have the phone. Call it anything but reliable. Texas Governor Greg Abbott ordered an investigation into the Electric Reliability Council of Texas and statewide blackouts and freezing temperatures. Far too many Texans are without power and heat for their homes, as are state freezing temperatures and severe winter weather. It's unacceptable, Abbott wrote in a statement. I've issued an executive order to review the preparations and decisions by ERCOT so we can determine what caused this problem and find long-term solutions. Well, I'll tell you what the problem is they've gone this green power, which when the weather cooperates, it's fine. But they don't have, I started to say this earlier. I got tagged by Facebook fact checkers yesterday for something I posted the other day. And it was about a helicopter spraying fossil fuels on one of the wind turbines to get it to de-ice so that they would turn. And it was, but they said it wasn't a fossil fuel that they sprayed on it. It was hot water. Now, I don't know if you actually believe that in sub-zero temperatures or in freezing weather, you have a helicopter scooping up hot water to spray on wind turbines. When you spray it on there, it's going to freeze again if it's water. It's just going to make it worse. So I don't believe it was hot water, Facebook, but thank you for correcting me. Let's see. Sharon says, taught in 1979. I left more than double my salary. Love teaching, but I got it. And it has changed. Look, they're paying $47.5 here for teachers. Morning says, it's a waste of money to get somebody in there and tell you what went wrong, which is blatantly in their face. They're no longer teaching history. They're no longer teaching classical lit. They've changed math. What in the world are they teaching? That's a great question. What are these kids learning? I will tell you. Thank you. Great point. There's a school system. What do they do with the thing? Oh, they were teaching the kids. Pennsylvania schools under fire after fifth graders were reportedly forced to celebrate Black communism and hold a mock Black Power rally and Black History Month celebrations. Students in one Philadelphia elementary school were allegedly forced to celebrate Black communism and do a mock Black Power rally in order to free Angela Davis, an outspoken radical political activist, from jail. Christopher Rufo, a contributing editor to the City Journal, detailed the alleged activities, which he says were outlined by whistleblower documents, and said he spoke with a school source that corroborated the details. Students at William D. Kelly School were reportedly exposed to the play acting through a social studies class that praised Davis, the Black communist, for her fight against injustice and inequality. Students, according to Rufo's report, were also told to pretend that they were participating in a rally to free Davis, who was once jailed and later freed on charges of murder and more. The children, according to the outlet, were then directed to march around the state, holding a variety of signs that read Black Power, Jail Trump, Free Angela, and Black Power Matters. They chanted about African ancestral power. They shouted, Free Angela, as they stood at the front of the stage, Rufo added. That, my friends, is what's wrong with the school system. That's what they're teaching them. Now, this is a very low-performing school that did this. Instead of teaching them what they need to teach them, they're teaching them to be radicals. On the helicopter story, even it didn't need fossil fuels to run. The wind turbine was made by fossil fuels, was the whole point of the thing. And if they spray fossil fuels on that, it would keep it from refreezing. Does that make sense? But they didn't get that. It was hot water they were spraying on it. Wow. Let's see. De-icing solution yes. I know. No. Facebook says no, it's hot water. Idle minds are the devil's playground. I thought it was hands. By the way, they're not paying whatever it was. It was 43.5, 47.5, something like that for starting pay. They passed that. Remember that? We talked about that, Willie. We talked about it. It's in Florida. It's colder today than it was yesterday. They didn't cancel school today. Well, they got hot water. It's not fossil fuels. They've been manipulating history lessons at least since, yes, they spend significantly more time discussing the Holocaust than most other subjects. I was making $11,374 a year. Well, is that 79? It took over a year to dig out of debt with, yeah. Well, wind turbines could have been built with heaters in the turbines and fan blades. They don't think that far ahead. I don't know if it works that way or not. Okay, whatever, Willie. The state of Florida has passed, and they are paying teachers starting out at least 43.5, if not 47.5. Just saying. Look it up. 850-771-0049. No, don't do that. What else? CNN didn't exactly challenge President Biden during Tuesday night's town hall in Milwaukee, avoiding uncomfortable subjects for the administration or other Democrats. While much of the program was focused on Biden's handling of coronavirus pandemic going forward, CNN anchor Anderson Cooper grilled the president on whether he agreed with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi that Senate Republicans who voted to acquit former President Trump in his impeachment were cowards, and whether he'd allow his Department of Justice to investigate his predecessor. Meanwhile, the scandal surrounding New York Governor Andrew Cuomo didn't come up. The question of whether Hunter is still taking money from China didn't come up. Interesting. Also ignored during the television event was the dramatic resignation of White House Deputy Press Secretary T.J. Ducklo, who was forced to resign Sunday after it was revealed that he berated a Politico reporter. Cooper did, however, dedicate the last several minutes of town hall to ask Biden, what's it like to live in the White House? All those crushing, hard questions. Was it different than you expected to be in some ways? CNN was heavily criticized during the 2020 campaign for its softball town halls featuring the Democrat. That wasn't it. Here are some more questions that came up.
And on our democracy more broadly by your predecessor and his followers. While I appreciate efforts being made to bring them to justice, I worry about ongoing threats to our country from Americans who embrace white supremacy and conspiracies that align with it.
If you support Trump, you embrace conspiracy and white supremacy.
Administration do to address this complex and wide-ranging problem?
It's complex, it's wide-ranging, and it's real. I got involved in politics to begin with because of civil rights and opposition to white supremacists, the Ku Klux Klan, and the most dangerous people in America continue to exist. That is.
You got involved in politics because you were unable to hold a job.
Greatest threat to terror in America, domestic terror. And so I would make sure that my Justice Department and the Civil Rights Division is focused heavily on those very folks. And I would make sure that we, in fact, focus on how to deal with the rise of white supremacy. And you see what's happening in the studies that are beginning to be done, maybe at your university as well, about the impact of former military, former police officers on the growth of white supremacy in some of these groups. You may remember.
Wait. He said he's blaming the military and the police for the rise of white supremacy. That's what he just said. He is blaming the police and the military for the rise of white supremacy. Wow. I did not know that. Did you know that? That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. I know. Here's this. Here's another one. Oh my gosh.
So I've committed to spend $1 billion on public education to help people figure out how they can get in there. We're also trying to set up mass vaccination centers, like places in stadiums and the like.
Are you concerned about the rollout of this online? Because it has been incredibly confusing for a lot of people, not just older people, it's younger people just trying to find a place to get a vaccine.
Yes, and I have, because look what we inherited. We inherited a circumstance here where, and now we did a lot in the first 2 weeks, in a circumstance where, number one, there weren't many vaccinators. You didn't know where you could go get a vaccine administered to you because there was no one to put it in your arm, number one. Number two, there was very little federal guidance as to say what to look for, how to find out where, in fact, you could go.
Okay, so it's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault because people didn't know where to go. People didn't know they didn't have lined up people who would give the vaccine. That's bogus. That is all a complete, absolute lie. You would not have a vaccine if it wasn't for Trump. You would still be standing around with your hands in your front of your pants. Donald Trump is the guy who got the vaccine out there. Now, don't you find it interesting that they waited until right after they thought the election was done before they said, oh, we've got a vaccine? The day they tried to keep it from Trump from getting credit for it, but Trump got the vaccine. Whether you agree with the vaccine or not, Trump got the vaccine in months, not years. And he did do the rollout. Getting the military out there, getting the frontline workers, they were all getting it out there. And he has the gall to say, there's nobody to do it. Well, you're a liar. You, sir, are a liar. And that's so much for your president who believes in truth and science. What a dipstick. Chuck Todd raised eyebrows on Tuesday with what appeared to be a knock on Texas residents who are suffering from the fallout of a deadly winter storm. Here's this clip from Chuck Todd. Check this out, and let me know if that would not irritate you.
Check now, speaking of weather, on all of this breaking weather news, extreme winter weather slamming more than half the country. It's killed at least 28 people across the southeast. In Texas, the state power grid is overloaded. It's left at least 4 million people to face historically low temperatures without electricity and often without heat. My colleague Morgan Chesky joins us now from Dallas. And Morgan, about the only upside here is I assume the cold weather motivates people to wear a mask because it's one extra layer on your face. But how bad is it, Morgan?
And maybe the cold weather will make them wear a mask. Because those Texans aren't intelligent enough to wear a mask. So maybe the cold weather will force. Maybe it's Mother Nature forced them to. Yeah, that's the idiocy. That is the idiocy. Whatever. Former President Trump released a scathing statement on Tuesday afternoon targeting Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Trump, once an ally of the Kentucky Republican, rebuked McConnell using terms harsher than those of most Democrats, naming McDonnell a dour, sullen, and unsmiling political hack. Was that? I think it's pretty accurate. Trump said the GOP would never again be respected or strong with McConnell at its helm, and he's right. Mitch McConnell the other day bashed Trump on the floor. He bashed him. He said terrible things, and so he deserved what Trump said. Trump felt slighted by that, and he should have. McConnell was wrong for what he said the other day, and Trump hammered him. Good. President Biden's COVID-19 relief package would put $128 billion toward helping K-12 public schools deal with the coronavirus pandemic, but the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates that just $6 billion would go to schools in 2021. The number would increase to $32 billion in 2022 and 2023. The rest of the money be paid out through 2028. Now, they say the reason that this year is because they still have unspent dollars. So why not, before you give them gads of cash, why don't you see what they're spending it on right now and make sure that they're spending it? I know. I gotcha. Oh, Kate, my foil head is tingling. The vaccine was listed on Moderna's financial report, which was made before we got the corona. Blaming the military for white supremacy. Big smiles on the Chinese and Russian leaders. Yeah. Don't trust the vaccine. Well, nobody does. Look, they're having a problem in Brownsville here in Pensacola. Luman May was citing poverty as the reason that that there's a big disparity of the blacks that are receiving the vaccine. It's not because that they're not trying to get it to them. It's because they don't want it. It's because they don't want it. They don't trust it. It's not about poor or rich. It's a matter of trust, and they don't trust it. Too many of the GOP did not stand with Trump. Now, let me clarify that, Sharon, because in a way you are right, but in a way you're wrong. The establishment, which is a large portion in D.C., but not the American people. No, Kate, I believe you. I believe you did the research on it. I do. All right, so what else is going on? White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki refused to guarantee Tuesday that taxpayers would not be forced to fund abortions as part of the $1.9 trillion COVID-19 stimulus package dubbed the American Rescue Plan. Here you go. Watch this. I hope this is the right clip.
Good afternoon. Owen Jensen, EWTN, Global Catholic Network.
This guy that's asking the question is from the Global Catholic Network.
Plan. Groups like pro-life groups, including the Susan B. Anthony list, very concerned that millions of U.S. taxpayer dollars will go to the abortion industry in violation of the Hyde Amendment. We know where President Biden stands on the Hyde Amendment, but that being said, can this administration right now guarantee, if the American Rescue Plan is passed, that no taxpayer dollars will go to the abortion industry?
Which component of the American Rescue Plan are you referring to?
I'll pull it up right here. A $50 million funding increase for the Title X program. $750 million for global health activities, and billions in funding for community health centers without applying the Hyde Amendment.
Well, the president's view on the Hyde Amendment is well known, as you have stated in your question. He also believes that community
that's avoidance
are a key part of addressing the pandemic, of ensuring that people in communities have access to vaccines, have access to treatment and information about making sure they're healthy and their loved ones are healthy. So that remains a priority to the president. He's shared his view on the Hyde Amendment. I don't think I have anything new for you.
To follow up on that, can you guarantee Americans who don't want their tax dollars, pro-life Americans who don't want their tax dollars, funding abortion, can the administration guarantee those tax dollars won't go to abortion?
I think, Owen, as I've just noted, 3/4 of the public supports the components of the package, wants to see the pandemic get under control, wants to see people put back to work, vaccines and arms. So I think that answers your question. Okay, we're going to move on. Go ahead in the back.
She's not going to answer that question. I think that answers your question. No, you didn't. You did not answer the question. Just saying. Very interesting. Very telling. Very, very telling. I'm running out of time. All right, so let's continue on. Let me see. Former Trump official Larry Kudlow was caught on a hot mic issuing an angry expletive against an accusation from Vice President Kamala Harris against the former administration. So check this out. He's got a new show on. He's a Fox contributor. He's got a new show. And so they're talking to him, chatting with him about it, and they're getting ready to go to a break. Check this out.
But, by the way,
Looking forward to it, Larry.
I can't wait to see how you cover the GameStop story, too. But that growing retail participation in the stock market, I think it's huge.
I'm good with it, but they better understand what goes up can go down.
It's a great point. All right, we'll be watching tonight.
Good to have you as a colleague, Larry.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And coming up on America Reports, we'll take a look at why there could be a potential conflict of interest for one of the World Health Organization's investigative team members. Why this is raising some serious questions over the probe into the origins of this global pandemic. Plus this.
All right, here we go.
In many ways, we're starting from scratch on something that's been raging for almost an entire year.
That was Vice President Kamala Harris making some false claims about the administration's vaccine.
Unbelievable false.
And that is Larry
He said BS about 4 times. Just done. Because that's just, it is bogus. And he called Kamala on. Listen, that was live TV. Doesn't get any better than that. He just let her rip. He didn't care. Didn't care. What else? So you did that one. A top Democratic official in Florida is warning fellow Democrats not to believe the COVID-19 conspiracy theories about Republican Governor Ron DeSantis' handling of the coronavirus pandemic. Jared Moskowitz of Florida, outgoing director of emergency management and the official responsible for directing the response to the pandemic under Governor DeSantis, told Politico's Mark Caputo that Democrats should be aware of spreading COVID-19 conspiracy theories that confirm their biases. You may see a conspiracy theory, you may want it to be true, and you believe it to be true, and you forward it and try to make it to be true, but that doesn't make it true. Democrats should not be so naive to think that they don't accidentally participate in things like, for instance, when they forward things around that falsely claim Florida has more deaths than New York when it comes to the coronavirus. It's just not supported by the data. So there. That's a Democrat backing up DeSantis. This is not New York. This is not New York. I want to get to this. This is, where did it go? Kamala Harris is well, she's talking to state leaders, foreign leaders, rather than Joe Biden. She's the one fielding the calls and the questions, not Joe Biden. This doesn't happen, people. Does it show that Joe Biden is incapable? Does it confirm what we already know, that Joe Biden is incapable of doing the job? That's why they give him softball questions. What's it like to live in the White House? Do you have a potty chair next to the bed? But Kamala is the one that is talking to foreign leaders, not Joe Biden. She is taking over already. Is this a they're just setting her up, and she's going to step into, well, she's been doing it anyway, they'll say. See, she's been doing it anyway. Oh man. This stuff is not, they are not giving you the full picture. They are not. Wow, crazy. I know. It is illegal, I think. I'm pretty sure. Unless the president's incapacitated. Well, there you go. We have troops in the Capitol since January the 12th. Since January 12th. Well, because of the Trumpsters. The domestic terrorists that have stormed the Capitol. We need the military there. They're just going to be there through the inauguration. Oh, well, the inauguration came past. They're just going to be there through the impeachment. Well, they're just going to be there through the fall. The fall. Because why? Because there's credible threats. No, there's not. If there were credible threats, they would have acted upon them. The FBI would have been out and rounding these people up. There are no credible threats. This is a flexing of muscle. Don't jack with us. Look at that picture. Look at that picture. There is no reason to have the military. There's no reason to have the gates up. None. This is a show of force so that you get the picture that the Democrats are in charge. And they're coming after you, you white supremacists, you racist pieces of trash. It's all about, are you going to fall in line? Are you going to agree with us? Fine. If not, fine. But you better agree with us. Wow. People, for the military to be in the nation's capital without a purpose, without a stated purpose, is frightening. It's very, very frightening. And you should be afraid, not of the military. You should be afraid of your government. Well, what more could they do? I don't know. I don't know, Kate. I wouldn't think so. But here's the issue: is that there is no purpose for them to be there. They don't have a stated purpose, except that Democrats are wanting to make you afraid. This happens in Korea. This happens in third world countries, military states. The United States is now in a military state. Yeah, he did. But here's the other part too. Is that I don't want to go into all that, but look, people, you should be afraid of this government. They are not there to help you. This is an over the top, in your face, don't mess with us. Anything else before I get out of here? Oh, there's lots of stuff. Rep. Elise Stefanik, Republican, New York, is calling for a federal investigation into Governor Andrew Cuomo over his slaughtering of innocents in the nursing homes. Despite already writing a leadership book that positively recasts his COVID-19 response, Cuomo is becoming the target of bipartisan backlash as new details surface over his pandemic response. The Republican lawmaker said on Monday on Fox News that the dam is breaking against Cuomo and urged immediate Department of Justice investigation into Cuomo's pandemic response. He's the worst governor in America in terms of how he's handled the COVID crisis. And last week was an absolute bombshell. You have both Democrats and Republicans calling for an independent investigation. I want to see subpoenas both at the state level, and the state Senate and state assembly should issue subpoenas immediately. And I want the Department of Justice to launch an independent investigation. I have a skid of it from BJ's, Kate. I bought it in a skid. The dam is breaking against Cuomo. I don't know if he can survive this politically, which it doesn't bother me. He's an idiot. I hate to hear him talk. But this is very, very telling. When you've got the Democrats, this is the guy they gave an Emmy to. It was an act. It was an act because he did nothing to help people during the COVID crisis. He slaughtered innocents, thousands of innocents, by his inability and his arrogance. Trump warned us they were after us, and he was right. All right, kids. Have a great Wednesday. It's hump day. Stay warm. Stay bundled up. Those of you in Texas, God bless you. We're praying for you. And just hold on, all right? Stay strong. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.